What's going on, you UFC nerds? Thank you so much for tuning into my breakdowns last week. I had a good time interacting with you guys in the comments. I really hope you guys enjoyed this fight card breakdown. I'm pulling this for you guys early. If you do like it, please drop a like. I would greatly appreciate it. Also, check back during the week for my best bets for each fight and my own personal bets as well as prop bets. I will drop them down in the comments, and any replacement fights. So far, there have been a few replacement fights, and I'm expecting some this week. I will comment down below those breakdowns as well and my predictions. Without further ado, let's hop right into this. We have UFC Fight Night Lewis versus Oleinik predictions, full card, bottom to top. Let's get right into it. The first fight, we have two bantamweight chicks going at it. We have Yana Foxy Kunitskaya. There are no odds on her yet. Taking on Jujila Stolarienko. Again, no odds for her yet. We're going to take a look at the newcomer, Jujila. She's 27 years old, 5'7", 135 pounds, 69-inch reach, 9-3-1 MMA record, 0-1 in the UFC. She's the former Invicta FC champ. We're going to take a look at everything that's good, everything that's bad, all my notes that I've taken for her, and we're going to make a prediction at the very end. So what she's good at, she is super good at the armbar. She loves the armbar. That's all she looks for when she gets her opponents on the mat or if they take her down. She will relentlessly look for that armbar. She will freaking jump to pull guard against her opponents. She will let them be on top. Her striking is a little bit sloppy. She can rush in with her hands at times, keeping them a little low. And she can get tagged with some hard shots. She's got this weird overhand Superman punch like right hand. I don't know what that is. It's kind of weird, but sometimes it lands. She uses leg kicks and body kicks nicely. She likes to move forward and apply pressure. She uses nice elbows in the clinch. Her level of opposition is super low, so we have to take that into account. Her wins against these lower level competitions are all by armbar. She should be winning these. She will work for the armbar, like I said. Dropped by a counter right from her last fight against Lisa Verzosa, so that's alarming right there. She shows no power in her punches or kicks. She's a super volume-based striker. She shows a lot of toughness, no willing to quit. Will accept being a bloody dogfight, though. So that's, something to look out for. She has 5-round experience, and she doesn't seem to tire out as much, which is pretty good. Overall, this girl will fight for your money. She has one loss in the UFC from 2018. It was a split decision loss, but since then, she's been on a 5-fight tear. Let's take a look at her opponent, Yana Foxy Kunitskaya. She is 30 years old, 5'8", 135 pounds, 68.5-inch reach, 12-5 MMA record, 2-2 in the UFC. Basically, her two losses are by submission, rear naked choke and armbar. She's fought a few fights at featherweight. She will look bigger than Jujila by fight day. I'm almost certain about that. She's fought the bigger girls. She doesn't look for subs and top control. She prefers to lay and pray, minimal ground and pound. She likes to do the knees in the clinch, which is good. She has a nice Taekwondo background, and she trains with Thiago Santos, who's her boyfriend. High front kicks to keep her opponents back. I like those. Body kicks, spinning back fists. So she's pretty well rounded on the feet. She high up kicks if she gets taken down. She will throw those high up kicks. But she can get controlled and ground and pounded on the bottom. We see no answers from her against Marion Renault, who basically outboxed her, broke her nose, took her down. It was an ugly fight. I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. She's super tough and doesn't quit. And she shows no cardio issues, which I like. Basically, her best wins, guys, are against older women like Lena Landsberg in her late 30s and Marion Renault, who that was a close fight. She's in her mid 40s. She has no power behind her strikes, more power behind the kicks. She loses to much bigger girls with more power and better ground game like Aspen Ladd, Chris Cyborg, Tanya Evinger. So her level of opposition is way better than this girl. We know that. This girl's coming in on short notice. I feel like when the lines drop, Yana will be a little bit of a favorite. But my prediction, I'm going to take the potential underdog here. Jujila by submission, armbar. Really, all this girl needs is one takedown or just allow Yana to get on top of her. She will just constantly work against Yana, try to find that armbar. Yana doesn't show much urgency to get up, and she's been submitted before. Really, the value is on the newcomer. So there we go. Next fight of the night, guys, we have two newcomers. Actually, one newcomer, Ali, the Royal Fighter Qaisi. He's plus 160, taking on Irwin, the Beast Rivera, minus 200. So we know that Irwin came in his last fight on super short notice against Giga. We're going to take a look at him in just a second, but we're going to start off with the newcomer, Qaisi. The guy is 29 years old. He's 5'8", 135 pounds. I couldn't see a reach available for him. 8-3 and 0-0 in the UFC. Basically, this guy, he isn't a fast starter. He plots, he reads his opponents, and this guy has super low output early. He's kind of a slow starter. He has nice trip takedowns in the clinch, heavy top control, nice shoulder strikes on the ground. This guy searches constantly for the guillotines, just like Jujila. This guy will search constantly for the guillotine. If he has a guillotine, he's not going to let it go. Despite him being in a bad position, he's just going to keep it. He has super low level experience, but those decent wins. Honestly, they're not bumps. If he has top control, there's not much ground and pound from this guy. He's kind of just lays and prays. Most of his wins by some submission. This guy can be backed against the cage. And he shoots for takedowns once he feels pressured. And I feel like he kind of allows his opponents to pressure him so he can get that takedown and can apply that submission. Let's take a look at his opponent, Irwin the Beast Rivera. He's minus 200. He is 31 years old, 5'6", 135 pounds, 68-inch reach, 9-5 MMA, 0-1 in the UFC. This guy has fought at featherweight before, so he's used to being the smaller guy, and he's used to fighting the bigger opposition. He took the Giga fight on short notice. The dude held his own on the feet. He had a hard time reaching the much taller, longer Giga, but the dude held his own. He has toughness. His striking's okay. He can make questionable decisions on the feet. He can be taken down and held down. It doesn't really show much urgency to get up, but the dude keeps calm in bad positions, and unfortunately, he can get his back taken. That's something we have to look out for. He's got a nice counter left hook, super low output, waits for the counter himself, shows finishing ability when he gets his opponents hurt, likes to use the body shots in the clinch. The dude shows urgency for the takedowns near the end of the round to impact the scorecards with 15 seconds left. He'll shoot, get a sloppy takedown. But it's just all to, sway the judges. Pretty smart, in my opinion. But he really won't keep that top control. He only has one submission win on his record. He has no issues going 3 rounds. He's super tough, durable, and he picks up later in the fight as well. So just like Qaisi, I feel like they're both slow starters, and they're both going to pick things up later on in the fight. I'm going to take the underdog here. I'm going to take Qaisi via submission. They have both super low output, both slow starters. If Qaisi shoots, I feel like he will get the takedown. If he doesn't, the guy's going to keep shooting, and eventually I feel like he will land one takedown. And from there, he's going to look for the choke. Irwin may have a slight advantage on the feet. He's fought better opposition. But really, Irwin at minus 200 against a guy who can take him down and who can submit him, actually. The value is on the underdog here. So I'm taking Qaisi plus 160 by submission. All right, and we have next fight on the night. We've got a banger. We have Darren the Dentist Stewart. He's minus 185, taking on Maki Coconut Bombs Pitolo. He's plus 150. Let's take a look at Mr. Maki Pitolo. He is 29 years old, 5'10", 185 pounds, with a 73.5-inch reach. He's 13-5 MMA, 2-1 in the UFC. Maki Pitolo has fought at welterweight and middleweight before. This guy's kind of a smaller middleweight. He stands and bangs. That's his game. He's got heavy hands, high guard. He has several subs on his record. His best win was Charles Byrd. His level of opposition is pretty low, I must say. I'll give him, though, he has nice shots to the body. He likes to move forward and apply pressure. He likes to overwhelm his opponents with volume. After the first round, that power kind of goes away. He can be physically controlled, not much ground and pound, does just enough to not get stood up by the ref. Doesn't keep opponents down, really, just threatens with a few subs if on top. He can be grinded against durable fighters. Callum Potter looked to be the stronger of the two after the first round. He showed zero urgency to get back up, and he really didn't threaten it with anything being on bottom. Callum Potter was just having his way. He's, super tough. He's durable, but really, Maki Pitolo looks like a first-round wonder. Let's take a look at Mr. Darren Stewart. He's 29 years old, 6 feet, 185 pounds, 74-inch reach, 11-5 MMA, 4-5 in the UFC. Darren Stewart, he has a nice left jab, power in his right hand. He likes the overhand right. He likes to use that. He's physically strong, powerful, drops spicely with a jab, finish Charles Bird with strikes on the ground. He works well in the clinch against the fence, can be overpowered and reversed, but uses knees as a counter. He can be held against the fence against stronger fighters. Darren Stewart has fought at light heavyweight and at middleweight, so he's fought the bigger, stronger, better opposition. The guy has more UFC experience. He shows decent takedowns defense early in his fight, but that defense kind of gets worse later on as the fight goes. He doesn't have much of a threat on bottom, works primarily to get back up to his feet, uses strikes from bottom unless opponents have side control. And then Stewart just allows his opponents to lay and pray. He keeps his hands kind of a bit low. He can get tagged clean. He has been submitted twice, so he needs to show better submission defense on the ground. My prediction for this one, guys, I'm taking Darren Stewart via decision. Stewart will come in as the bigger of the two. Maki won't have that takedown offense that Wynn and Bird had. This will be a stand-up affair, and Stewart has never been finished by strikes, guys. He was only subbed. Maki Pitolo doesn't pose a high enough threat on the mat to do so. Stewart should be the more physical of the two, have more power, and I think he can last a lot longer than Maki Pitolo. So my prediction is going to be Darren Stewart via decision. All right, guys. So next up, we have Youssef, the Moroccan Devil Zalal, taking on Peter Slippery Pete Barrett. Youssef Zalal is minus 340, and Peter Barrett is plus 260. We're going to start off with Peter Barrett. The guy is 33 years old, 5'9", 145 pounds, 73-inch reach, 11-3 MMA, 1-0 in the UFC. He has that one win on the Contender Series. The guy has fought in both lightweight and featherweight, so he's going to be the bigger of the two. Even though he's a little bit shorter, he's going to be thicker. Level of opposition was really low. His best win was against his last opponent on the Contender Series, and that guy, he was winning the fight until he basically gassed out. He likes throwing low calf kicks. He can get leg kicked, and his kicks can get caught, and he can get taken down. He was getting held down and dominated early by you. Didn't show much urgency to get up, only won because basically you tired out. He has a lot of first-round finishes, I'll give him that. He was subbed and finished by strikes as well in his career, so we have to take that into account. And what I like about him is he remains calm and super calm in bad spots. He can be hit flush by punches and knees, uses strength to hold opponents against the cage, and he likes those dog fights. He'll give a shot to take a shot. He will threaten with takedown attempts to tire out his opponents, but he really isn't a good wrestler and has shown to put himself in bad submission attempts after getting taken down. The guy has somewhat sloppy stand-up, throwing wild spinning back fists, elbows, and kind of being off balance when he kicks later on in the fight as he gets tired. And also he can get taken down fairly early as the fight progresses. Let's take a look at his opponent, Youssef Zalal. He's 23 years old, still a young kid, 5'10", 145 pounds, 75-inch reach, 9-2 MMA, 2-0 in the UFC. So he keeps his hands low when walking forward toward opponents. He shows great energy, fights long and rangy. Level of competition prior to UFC is mediocre, but is not as bad as Barrett's. He's quick, looks thinner than opponent, can be held against the clinch, against the cage, against bigger, stronger fighters. He will threaten with single leg takedowns, but won't fully commit on all of them. He will threaten occasionally with chokes, though. He has ability to dodge power shots. He has a lot of agility, and he has some decent head movement. He's not the strongest featherweight. He gives up more muscle for speed. Lingo hit him with a few big shots, exposing his low hands. He can be pressured, but will run away. Throws low calf kicks. I like that. He takes advantage in the later rounds when opponents get tired, so that's key here. He's aggressive, wild, and looks well-rounded, young, and still improving. He does a good job keeping his opponents off his back. He can be taken down and controlled by Jordan Griffin, but he works hard to get up. He fought a more grappling-heavy fight against Griffin. This guy will fight for your money, but at 340, that's kind of a steep stretch. I will take Youssef by submission, though. Barrett should be tough enough to hang for a while with Youssef on the feet, but I see his gas tank fading a little bit by the second and third round, and a sloppy style leading him to getting taken down from there. I think Youssef should have his way. Youssef by submission. Next up, we've got Justin Guitar Hero Jaynes. He's plus 160, and his opponent, Gavin Tucker, he's minus 200. We're going to start off with Gavin Tucker. He's 34 years old. He's 5'6", 145 pounds, 66-inch reach. He's 11-1, 2-1 in the UFC. Gavin Tucker is 34 years old. He's not very active. He's coming off a year layoff, but really that shouldn't affect him, as his last win was off of a 2-year layoff. Prior to the UFC, the guy really fought cans. He got the finishes. He did what he was supposed to do. His wins are against fighters no longer in the UFC, like Sam Sicilian and Rick Glenn. His striking look composed. He likes using leg kicks, high kicks. He has strong back control, doesn't let opponents breathe when he gets them down, and sticks like glue. Pretty decent takedown shots and control. Relentless with the takedowns as well. Likes to drag his opponents when they're on the mat. He's strong. He can allow opponents to get back up later in the fights, though, and he can be taken down himself, but will work to reverse to improve position. He can go 3 rounds without much issue. He looks faster in his earlier fights, pops in and out with his shots. He kind of lacks power, more volume-based, overwhelming his opponents. Again, in the Rick Glenn fight, he was tagged clean and dropped, so that's a warning right there. He can be held down later in the fights by stronger fighters, and Glenn really had all day to finish that fight. So many opportunities. So we have to look into that. That's a warning sign right there. Let's take a look at Justin Guitar Hero Jaynes. He's 30 years old, 5'7", 145 pounds, 64.5-inch reach, 16-4 record, 1-0 in the UFC. His 1-0 short notice fight was an impressive win and a knockout win against Frank Camacho at lightweight. The guy has power, man. I mean, he's finished most of his opponents by knockout. Granted, the level of opposition was pretty low, so he did what he was supposed to do against those guys, just like Gavin Tucker. He fights patient. He waits for his opponents to throw the more impacting strikes. Likes the overhand right. This guy likes to throw it. Can be tagged and countered when he keeps his left hands lower. He likes the liver shots. He keeps his opponents guessing where he will throw. He's unpredictable on the feet. He's never been finished. His losses came by decision. This guy's got a good chin. He's fought at featherweight, lightweight, and welterweight. So he's going to be the bigger guy come fight night. He looks to have a decent takedown defense. Will threaten with guillotines if they present itself. He has a strong guillotine himself. He has decent ground and pound and top control, but he has a hard time keeping control of his opponents on the mat. He was threatened with subs while on top control of his opponents. Some of them were, so he's got to watch out with that. He can be threatened by submissions if he has top control. He looks quick, athletic, and thick. Used to be the shorter fighter in fights. We haven't seen Jaynes in really much bad spots, so this will be a tough test to see where he's at. And he hasn't had a decision since 2017, so there's a good chance this fight will not go to the judges. My prediction, I'm taking Jaynes via KO. I like Tucker, but he's 34. He's no longer considered a prospect. Tucker should be the faster fighter, but I can see Jaynes landing the heavier shots and eventually dropping Tucker, and Tucker will just be trying to survive in this fight. I'm going to go with Jaynes by KO. All right. Let's take a look at the next fight, guys. We have Andrew El Dirte Sanchez. He's plus 135, taking on Wellington, the prodigy Turman. He's minus 165. Let's take a look at Wellington Turman. He's 24 years old, 6 feet, 185 pounds, 72-inch reach. He's 16-3, 1-1 in the UFC. Basically, this guy's 24 years old. He's still learning, still improving. He looks really good. I'm a big fan of this kid. He's looked impressive thus far against respectable competition like Marcus Perez and Carl Roberson. Those are 2 tough tests. Prior to the UFC, the guys fought pretty decent competition. I feel like this guy will be a force to be reckoned with in the future. And the guy has fought at welterweight before. He shows pretty decent striking, heavy hands. He shows nice takedowns against Roberson. Very strong body lock takedowns as well. Has good BJJ on the ground. Close fight against debut Roberson. Could have gone either way. Can be reversed on the ground, but he does look for the submissions. He keeps working, which I like about him. Roberson used size and strength to hold Turman on the floor. So we gotta, he's gotta watch out for the bigger guys. Roberson fought at light heavyweight. So did Andrew Sanchez, so he has to look out for Sanchez just kind of holding him on the mat. If Sanchez can't get out top, Turman may have problems getting back up. Back and forth scrap on the feet. Turman likes doing that. He uses wrestling to edge the decision against Perez. That was a pretty fun, exciting fight. That was a close one. He looks more calm and composed the more fights that he takes. Like when he debuted against Roberson, he was a little bit nervous. He looked a little stiff, a little hyper. And then against the Marcus Perez fight, he was super composed and calm. Turman doesn't pose too much knockout power. He's more of a threat on the ground with 6 subs on his record. Let's take a look at Andrew Eldurte Sanchez. He's 32 years old, 6'1", 185 pounds, 76-inch reach. He's 11-5 MMA, 4-3 in the UFC. So after his back-to-back losses to Smith and Jaynes, really Sanchez has improved his cardio. He turned his fight game around. He's primarily wrestling based. And his striking has improved a lot, but he still looks a little bit stiff. He likes to jab. He doesn't present much power behind his shots. He's susceptible to the body kicks and left hand shots, overhand lefts. That's what I meant. He works his jab to get back up to. He works his jab to back up his opponents. He feels most comfortable against the fence in the clinch. He has strong clinch control. The guy's a 4-time All-American. He will take you down. He hasn't recently shown much of a heavy wrestling game. He feels comfortable striking. He's kind of falling in love with it. The dude is super tough. He took Vittoria's flurry of punches with no problems. He can be pinned on against the fence by better and more aggressive strikers. He has decent striking defense of his own. He keeps his hands high. He seems, falling in love with the striking. You don't want to see that with a high-level wrestler like Andrew Sanchez. But he will use his takedowns against lesser aggressive fighters like Barrett and Jaynes. So basically, if he gets exhausted, it's tough. If Sanchez starts to get tired, he will lose the fight by stoppage. There's a good chance of that. But here's the thing. I'm going to take Andrew Sanchez by split decision. Man, it sucks to say that. I like Turman. I'm a fan of him. But both fighters are making their respective... Both fighters make their respective fights closer than they should be. Turman has the slight edge in the striking and BJJ, while Sanchez has the edge in the grappling. If Sanchez can mix in his takedowns and hold Turman on the mat, which is possible because he might be the bigger guy, he should get the W. If Sanchez decides to strike the whole time, Turman can cruise away with this one. Sanchez has more experience. I think he realizes that he should be taking this guy down and kind of just holding him down. So my prediction... It's ugly, but I'm going to take Andrew Sanchez by split decision. All right, guys. Next up, we have Tim the Dirty Bird Means plus 110 taking on Laureano Pepe Staropoli minus 140. Let's take a look at Staropoli. He is 27 years old, 6'1", 170 pounds, 71.5-inch reach, 9-2 MMA, 2-1 in the UFC. This guy is pretty big, and I think he's going to be bigger than Tim Means. He's fought at middleweight in the past. He will have a slight size and speed advantage, in my opinion. He's the younger fighter. One thing that I don't like is he overstands his right hand. What I do like is that he has spinning back kicks, spinning back elbows. He can mix it up pretty well, and he gets back up pretty quick if taken down. He throws less volume, but picks his shots more carefully. He has a good chin. He recovers quickly when hurt. The dude's super tough, super game, and he has decent head movement. He is susceptible to the body shots and low leg kicks, unfortunately. Will engage in dogfight at times. Can be momentarily held against the fence against stronger guys. Prior to the UFC, he fought very low-level competition. But again, he finished him like he was supposed to. I feel like Laureano is due for a finish win, and if it is, it will be this fight. The guy has flashy striking. Let's take a look at Tim Dirty Bird Means. He is 36 years old, 6'2", 170 pounds, 75-inch reach, 29, 12-1 MMA, 11-9 UFC. This guy's a super veteran. He's super well-rounded. He's good all over. He can use takedown submissions. He has dangerous striking, shows heavy ground and pound when on top. He was beating Price until Means got a hit flush in the end of the first. We know Price has power. Means willing to kill or get killed in the cage. He'll fight for your money. Alternates wins and losses, unfortunately. Chin may be more of an issue now as he's older and he's been rocked and hurt in his last 2 losses. He will pressure an established center of the cage. He won't back up. The guy is a super volume-based striker. He will get taken down by better grapplers, but will stay busy and work to get back up. His wins are against fighters in the late 30s, so we have to take that into account. He will get outpaced and have a speed disadvantage against younger fighters. My prediction, Staropoli by KO. The guy is younger. The guy has flashy striking, and he can catch Means. Means has the clear advantage in the striking. We all know that, and he has the advantage all around. But really, we're just fading Means at 36 years old. Laureano will throw the heavier shots, and Means has been hurt in his fights recently, so that's a bad sign. Staropoli doesn't have the knockout power that Price or Rodriguez has, but I feel like he'll be landing more of the significant strikes, and I feel like some kind of spinning back fist or spinning kick is going to hurt Maines, and he's going to get the TKO. So my prediction is Laureano Staropoli. All right, guys, the next fight of the night, we have a good one. The return of Nasrat Haqparast. He's minus 265, and his opponent Alex Munoz, he's making his he was in the Contender Series, but technically his debut and he's plus 205. Let's take a look at the newcomer. He's 30 years old, 5'9", 155 pounds. I couldn't find a reach on this guy. He's 6-0 MMA, 1-0 in the UFC, and that was a Contender Series win. So basically he has Munoz has less UFC experience. His last 2 wins were against, somewhat decent competition. He trains out of Team Alpha Male. When he fought Nick Newell struggled a little bit with, Munoz was struggling a little bit with Newell's pressure and leg kicks. Munoz will have some experience fighting southpaws like Nasrat. He almost took a year off his last fight since the Contender Series. Munoz likes to use wrestling. This guy's a wrestler. Strong trip takedowns and likes to hold opponents against the fence. He looks active but allows opponents to get back up. He's patient. He picks his shots. He started looking sloppy later in the fight against Newell. Took advantage of a tired Newell and held top position. Prefers more control than any damage. Throws a decent 1-2 combo followed by a body kick. He switches stances too. He's a D1 wrestler. The guy's game. He's tough. Let's take a look at Nasrat. He's 24 years old, so he's still young, still improving. 5'10", 155 pounds, 72-inch reach, 11-3 MMA, 3-2 in the UFC. Nasrat is still a prospect. He clearly wasn't ready for the step up. Drew Dober is a stud. He's a top 15 fighter. He got finished in his last fight. He trains at a TriStar. He's only 24 years old, still growing, still learning. They call him the mini Kelvin of the lightweight division. Coming off his first knockout loss can be impacted in a positive way, though. He can come back more motivated, or it could be a negative way. He can come back more tentative and losing confidence. We'll have to see. He has power. Lots of his finishes prior to the UFC were by knockout. And he has nice finish wins over Joaquim Silva. He dropped to Qaisi, Goody, and held. So this guy will eventually drop you at least once in the fight. His best win was against Mark Qaisi. He showed good pressure and nice defense. He shows controlled striking, which he picks his shots well. He has nice left hook counters, keeps his hands high and nice head movement, moves in and out quick. He throws nice leg kicks, but doesn't check leg kicks often. You got to watch out for that. He keeps nice pressure. He has solid takedown defense. Had to work constantly for the takedowns. Nasrat will threaten with a takedown of his own, but he really isn't that much of a strong wrestler. In a nutshell, this one, I'm going to take Nasrat by decision. Munoz is no scrub. And he doesn't like trading. Munoz is going to be the less active of the two. He will try to pick his shots. Nasrat and can drop. Sorry about that. Choking here. I need some water. I see Nasrat. Nasrat has been taken down before, but he will get back up. And if so, he will land the better shots. But really, Nasrat should win this. This is a fight that Nasrat should come back and get the W. This guy isn't near top 30 material. Nasrat should come in this. It's all about a question of his mental state. After getting that last loss. But really, I'm gonna take Nasrat by decision. And this should be a cruise fight for Nasrat. All right, guys. Next up, we have Beneil Dariush. He's minus 160, taking on Scott Hot Sauce Holtzman plus 130. We're going to take a look at Hot Sauce Holtzman. He's 36 years old, 5'9", 155 pounds, 69-inch reach, 14-3 MMA, 7-3 in the UFC. He trains out of Gym O with Brian Barberena. He's fought solid opposition. His best win was against Jim Miller. Tough, durable, never been finished. Only decision losses to grinders like Nick Lentz, Josh Emmett, Drew Dober. So he's fought some decent guys. Decent hands, throws nice leg kicks. He will take his time. He has some decent power, dropping Dong Hyung Ma. Doesn't show much urgency to ground and pound or finish the fight once he gets his opponent's hurts, though. So that's kind of something to look out for. He will lay in prayer and get that top control time. He has nice uppercuts, nice head movement, willing to have a dog fight in the cage. He will give a shot to take a shot. Can get countered throwing the uppercut at times. And he has nice cage clinch control. One thing, he's 36 years old, and I don't believe he will be the faster guy here. But let's take a look at Dariush. He's 31 years old, 5'10", 155 pounds, 72-inch reach, 18-4-1 MMA, 12-4-1 UFC. So he has a nice UFC record. He's on a 4-fight winning streak right now. He trains at a King's MMA. His 2 knockout losses were to Edson. It was a flying knee to the chin, and Alex Hernandez, which really was an upset, and I believe Beneil would win the rematch. Beneil is super well-rounded. He's a veteran of the game. He's fought top opposition. He's fought the better guys. He has nice wins over good competition as well. His opponents can get in the inside of Dariush and land some hard shots, so he has to look out for that. Dariush has good takedowns, dangerous on the ground with his BJJ, very strong body triangle, and smothering on top. Will use some good ground and pound if on top as well. He keeps his hands a little bit low. When he gets tagged, he will try to fire back, exposing his head even more. He had that nice comeback win against Drakkar Klose after Klose hurt him on the feet. He has a nice high kick, nice leg kicks. Straight left is his weapon of choice. Dariush will get hit hard and stunned at least once in fights, though. Camacho did it, Dober did it, Klose did it. So, this guy will get hit and stunned at some point. But he's fought opponents with more knockout power than Holtzman. We have to take that into consideration. My pick is going to be Beneil Dariush by submission. I don't see Dariush knocking out Holtzman, as he's too tough and can take shots better than Dariush. He can hold his own. But on the flip side, Dariush has eaten harder shots from stronger opponents, with more power, and he survived. Dariush's level's ahead on the mat. I mean, if he takes him down once, this might be game over. Give him one chance, and he'll look for the sub. I'm going to take Dariush by submission. All right, guys, the co-main event of the night. We have Chris, the All-American Weidman. He's minus 115, taking on Omari Wolverine Akhmedov, and he's coming at the same price, minus 115. Let's take a look at Omari Wolverine Akhmedov. He's 32 years old, 6 feet, 185 pounds, 73-inch reach, 24-1 MMA, 8-3-1 in the UFC. Omari has fought at welterweight in the past, so he will be the smaller fighter here. He's on a 3-fight win streak with 1 draw in his middleweight run. He has been submitted twice and finished by strikes and knees twice. Low-level middleweight wins, though. His best middleweight win was against Ian Heinisch. Tough and can throw too much too early and tire himself out. He has a tendency to not engage the fight. This guy kind of has low output. He will be patient, though. He has nice high kicks, nice counter rights, strong inside leg kicks. He can get backed up. Boach backed Omari up against the fence, so he can be backed up. He took Abdul Razak's shots well. Went to a draw with Vettori. I believe Vettori wins the rematch, though. He has nice takedowns in his back pocket. Will use it against dangerous strikers, but he can be taken down as well. Ian Heinisch took him down 3 times. He can put himself in bad spots when taking opponents down. The guy, he's strong, he's durable, but he just lacks that low output. Let's take a look at Chris Weidman. He's 36 years old, 6'2", 185 pounds, 78-inch reach, 14-5 MMA, 10-5 in the UFC. The former middleweight champ. He's 1-5 in his last 6. He's coming off brutal knockout loss against Dominic Reyes. I don't know why he shouldn't not have gone up to light heavyweight in the first place. His recent losses were all by finishes. Prior to the finish, Weidman was looking all right, arguably winning until he got caught. And against Luke Rockhold, Yoel, Romero, Jacare Souza, Gegard Mousasi, he was keeping the fight close, and maybe some judges were giving him some rounds, so it was close. But he just got caught, in the 3rd, 4th round of those fights, and the second against Mousasi. Chin may be gone at this point. We don't know. He's fought the better opposition. Clearly, he's the veteran of the sport. He has solid wrestling. Always will be his bread and butter. He's fell in love with the striking these last few years. He shows a strong ground game, heavy top control and ground and pound, will threaten with subs on the bottom. He beat former welterweight and top 8 middleweight contender Kelvin by using his wrestling, nice heavy top control, and secured that arm triangle. He has a nice jab. He uses it to keep distance. Sorry about that. Strong knees in the clinch, carries power in his hands. He rocked Jacare good in the second. He has nice body shots, applies nice pressure. Weidman can be tagged and hit flesh. Weidman may be tougher than his own good at this point of his career. Weidman has slowed down midweight at times during the fight, so we have to look out for that. And he's susceptible to body strikes at times. He's strong and applies pressure well, doesn't tend to back up, will pick shots carefully. My prediction for this fight, I'm going to go with Chris Weidman. I think the value's on Chris Weidman here. I think people are fading him, but really, this is a good matchup for him to get back in the win column. I mean, I know Weidman has taken a tremendous amount of damage, but before his losses, he was holding his own against dangerous, powerful strikers, better strikers, and bigger guys than Omari Akhmedov. Akhmedov throws super low output. He can tire himself out quicker. I mean, and I don't see him taking down Weidman at all. Weidman just needs to watch out for the counter rights. I'm going to take Chris Weidman. The value is on Chris Weidman, and I think this will be a good fight to come back to get that W in the division. We can fade Weidman the next time out. And without further ado, the main event of the night, we have two big boys. We have Derrick, the Black Beast Lewis. He's minus 260, taking on Aleksei, the Boa Constrictor Oleinik. He's plus 200. We're going to take a look at Aleksei Oleinik. He is 43 years old, 6'2", 235 pounds, 80-inch reach, 59, 13-1 MMA, 8-4 in the UFC. Basically, he's running a 2-fight win streak right now. He's come through on 5 occasions as the underdog. That's crazy. His best win was against Fabricio Werdum, in my opinion. That was his last fight. You know, although Werdum didn't look himself, he looked a little off that night. That's still a good name to have on your resume. He's probably the second best grappler behind Werdum in that division. The guy's a master choke artist. He will get chokes from top. He will get chokes from bottom. The guy will be searching for those chokes, and he will get them. He's lost to bigger, more athletic fighters like Walt Harris, Curtis Blades, Alistair Overeem. He shows decent power. It is heavyweight, but Oleinik prefers to be on the mat. Let's take a look at Derrick Lewis. He is 35 years old, 6'3", 261 pounds. So he will be having a 30-pound, it'll be 30-pound differential. He will be the heavier guy. 79-inch reach, 23-7, 14-5 in the UFC. Derrick Lewis is 2-2 in his last 4. You know, he has 1 knockout win in his last 4 wins, and that last knockout win was almost to a decision. And he's a super slow starter, and the guy gas is super quick. He is extremely dangerous and can put anyone out with 1 shot. The guy has absolutely no ground game, 0 submission defense, and he will will get tired, and he will just lay there if he's super tired. He has a power overhand right, smothering control up on top, and throws bricks to get the ground and pound win. I mean, the guy, you don't want him on top. His last 2 wins, very low output, arguably lost to Blagoy and Elir. He was taken down and controlled in both of those fights, so that's something to look out for. Lewis has a weak wrestling game. He will shoot for takedowns if he does feel hurt. It's just sloppy takedowns, though. The one thing he has going for him is his size, weight, and power advantage. But my prediction, I am taking another underdog. I'm taking Aleksei Oleinik by submission. The value is on Aleksei. You have to fade Derrick at this point. Aleksei may be 43 years old, guys, but his skills and ground game are galaxies away than Lewis's. I mean, Aleksei just needs to weather Lewis's strikes, get out of the first round, get this fight somehow to the mat, tire him out. I mean, he has 25 minutes to get this fight to the ground. He will eventually do so. I mean, once he does, it's night-night for Lewis. Lewis will have nothing for Aleksei. The value is on Aleksei, and the value, once that line drops, Aleksei by submission will be even juicier. Boom. Whew, that was long. I did the fight breakdowns. It took hours, but this was super fun. I appreciate you guys hanging on and watching this whole thing. It means a lot. Please comment down below. I want to talk to you guys, see who you're betting on, see who you are predicting. But yeah, let's cash these bets. Check out my bets in the comments during the week. And thank you so much for tuning in. Take care, guys.